Hello and welcome to the second channel for Tales from the Trip. I'm your host, a Trip Keeper, and on today's video, we are going to be reading a whole Reddit thread about a dog that became an alcoholic, or that is and needs to be rehabilitated. I didn't really see exactly what, but we are going to be diving into it. I mean, it sounds interesting enough, right? Now, I mentioned I was going to do this in the pet video that I made, and I totally forgot that I saved these. I'm like, oh shit, I could do that, because I asked people on the community post what I should do next, and thank you for responding, but then I remembered this. I'm like, oh god, I gotta do that first. I promised I would do it. So yeah, this seems like it'll be interesting. I mean, a dog becoming an alcoholic, it's a pretty popular Reddit post. There's a couple thousand upvotes, I'm sure a lot of downvotes too that you don't see, but got my Miller High Life, baby. Yeah, let's just get started right into this thing. We don't have to do any preamble or anything. All right, so this is from 6 years ago, and it says, help, on r/dogs, it says, help, seeking advice from anyone that rehabilitated an alcoholic dog. All right, let's get into this. Sounds very interesting. I need advice from anyone that's treated a dog that has developed a substance abuse disorder, specifically, in this case, alcohol. I was visiting some distant relatives and went around to their neighbor's place. These guys are both fuckwits and animal hoarders. One of their dog's ticks was that it could drink a half a bottle of wine, 350 milliliters, or 12.5 US fluid ounces, of 11% alcohol per volume. Alright, that's about wine, yet. They wouldn't feed him until he completed this trick, which he must do twice a day, and is repeated every day. They think it's a great laugh. I think it's cruel as fuck. They are getting sick of him though, because now he no longer staggers around after consuming the alcohol, and that they are think about getting rid of him, and they are thinking about getting rid of him. All right, which means a bullet in these parts. I offered to take him, and they accepted. All right, well, this person is the original owners, they sound like terrible people. I mean, getting your dog drunk like that, like, what the fuck? These are the people that should not be owning dogs, and they hopefully don't have any kids. Problem is, the dog seems to go absolutely berserk, and then looks in pain before staggering around in fright if I don't give him a small glass, 100 milliliters of wine. Before I realized this, I opened a bottle of wine myself and took a swig, and he leapt up on me, desperately licking my lips and sticking his tongue in my mouth. I didn't know if it was a physiological or psychological dependence. I've taken him to my vet, whom estimated his age at 6 years old, who said that this is a rather unusual situation, and alcoholism treatment hasn't been studied widely in dogs. But this dog is likely physically dependent on alcohol, and he's going through the withdrawals just like human alcoholics do when they're cut off from alcohol cold turkey. My vet said he couldn't professionally recommend I keep giving the dog alcohol, nor could he think of a specialist that could help. Off the record, he suggested that I wean the dog down, 50 milliliters a week until his consumption is at 100 milliliters a day, then down by 10 milliliters a day until 10 milliliters. At 10 milliliters, reduce it to 1 milliliter a day every 2 to 3 days. He also, off the record, suggested to be flexible, to put up with whining for more. But if he shows withdrawal symptoms, to give a little more if it helps, but to be careful not to teach the dog the trick of acting in withdrawal just to get more wine. I really want to help this guy, as he is amazingly sweet. I find it sickening that whenever my hands go above roughly my shoulder height, he covers. I'm thinking he's been hit a lot maybe, and he freaks out at the sight of a rolled up newspaper. Poor boy. Yeah, it really is poor boy. Jesus, this poor fucking dog. I know it's a long shot, but what do you recommend? The vet said that he would consider giving Valium, as that may ease withdrawals, but as that isn't safe to mix with alcohol, I have to decide whether I'm going to give him Valium and promise no alcohol, or just wean him down on alcohol slowly. I already own a boxer, probably not pure though, and as this guy seems to be a red heeler crossed with a boxer, he and my other dog are getting on like a house on fire. It's so great to watch them both play and be so happy. That is, until my poor new boy needs another drink and becomes so anxious and pained. Yeah, this dog is definitely going through withdrawals. That's the first time I've ever fucking heard of that. A dog going through withdrawals from alcohol, or withdrawals from anything, really. The only withdrawals I've heard of dogs or cats going through is when you leave for the day and you're gone at work and you come back home and they're like so worried that you're gone, and like they don't think you're gonna come back, but you do come back. But this is like a million times worse than that. Any advice? I feel quite unsure of what the best way to rehab him is, and I'm worried that general veterinary principles, i.e. never give your dog alcohol, might interfere with what's best in this extremely nuanced situation. I feel like it's so unfair this guy is suffering because of being made to do party tricks when he is so affectionate, and somehow even still has a spark in his eye and hasn't just shut off to the world despite how cruel the hand he was dealt has been. Edit. I've added some pics. No pics here, sorry. Removed for fear of doxing. Given I got an abusive/threatening call from relatives, it seems the police have acted. Edit 2. I've called the police. Despite the fact they aren't proactive, I had taken photos of an active amateur meth lab and firearms that were neither being stored correctly and likely not owned by someone with relevant paperwork. This may be investigated, remembering it's a fly-in, fly-out community, or a 40-hour return trip from a nearest police outpost, and longer from proper police station. The settlement may have already had a visit from the police, or if they haven't, they may have soon. Hopefully it's the proper police and not the Tribal Justice Administration that has no real power or interest in these sorts of things. One of the people involved in training the dog to do the trick is a retired member. Update. Have spoken to my vet friend who has discussed it with another vet. They have decided that despite the law, given the unique circumstances, they are confident despite statute that an alcoholic wean wouldn't be considered abuse. I'm going to wean him down at a rate slightly quicker than the one originally suggested in the post, but be monitoring him constantly for signs that he is in withdrawal, in which case I'll let him have a small amount and reassess in 45 minutes. I also have some IM Valium that I'm going to give him if he has a seizure, before immediately transporting him to the hospital. The vet will look over him twice a week at his clinic. I'm monitoring his weight and have another liver test done in a few weeks. It seems police have acted, as I received a call from one of said relatives whom live next door, shouting about police being there, etc., and hanging up. I blocked their number. Thank you all for your kind comments and advice. I will update you guys in a couple of weeks to let you know how it's going. Edit to add to update. He's been switched to cheap cider from wine, which he wasn't sure of at first, but after he realized it was alcoholic, about after 15 minutes, I'd coaxed him to have some when he was starting to get agitated and restless. He then wanted more. Makes me really think it's not a taste thing at all. He has just become so dependent he needs the alcohol in him to feel normal. Poor guy. Poor guy, poor dog. Yeah. Oh. Let's see here. Alright, this next one's not so long. Let's see this image of him. Okay, I'm gonna have to put that in the video. That is so cute. Yeah, he's a little puppy. He's a little doggy woggy buggy. Yeah, he's a little baby, though. He's a little alcoholic baby. Alright, so I got to see that. I'll put it in there. Don't worry. The update. The treatment is going fantastically. From originally having 750 milliliters of 11.5% wine a day, my new doggo only needs 200 milliliters of 7.9% apple cider, 50 milliliters 4 times a day. The dose is enough to keep him happy, follow me around and jump around playing with my other dog, to enjoying laying on my legs, under the covers, on my bed, and just doing everything that a happy dog does. He has major anxiety issues if he can't be with me or my partner. For example, just going to the shop for 2 minutes and leaving him in the yard or inside, his pick. I will come home to him whimpering and barking in a distressed manner, only to then have him to try and lick my face off when he finds I've returned. Oh, that's so cute. This better be a good happy ending. Just before the time of his next dose, he often slows down and shows me some signs of agitation, i.e. increased pulse rate, not interested in playing or food. But once he's had his next dose of cider, he picks back up again fairly quickly. Despite the taper going quicker than originally it was thought he would need, there has been no signs of the serious withdrawal symptoms. Because of his liver's state, we want him to be off alcohol as quick as possible, without causing more than mild withdrawal, and thus are very pleased. The vet today considers it safe for him to take a small dose of Valium to be given in between his drink 4 times a day. This should help with his agitation, etc. I'm so hopeful that this will work out because he's fitted in with our family and other pets. Indoors we have 2 cats and 1 dog, perfectly, and is such a sweet guy. We've already bonded so closely, it's a perfect match. Yeah, this is like a match made in heaven, honestly, with these owners. He's probably just thrilled that he doesn't have to be with these stupid fucking owners that gave him the alcohol. The plan from here is to try and get him down to a very low intake, 60 milligrams or 60 milliliters of 60 milliliters of 7.9% apple cider per day, given in 4 doses, within 2 weeks, and then decrease at a slower rate, slower 1 milliliter to 2 milliliters per day. As often in alcoholics, they can wean down to low doses without too much trouble from withdrawals, but jumping off is very hard to achieve without severe withdrawals. During this time, his Valium dose may be increased to help with what he's going through inside. I'm just so glad things seem to be going so well and that he seems so happy. His temperament also has made him slot in with our existing dog and 2 cats nicely. Edit. And while I don't know details, I know a number of members of the family that previously owned him and other members of the community have been arrested, with some charged with offenses related to drugs and firearms. No animal cruelty to the best of my knowledge, though. I know I am also not welcome to visit that branch of my family again. Not that I would want to. Yeah, no, I mean, I would never visit them again. That's just fucked up, for real. Yeah, so I forgot he said distant relatives, so yeah, if my family did that shit, fuck that, bruh. Fuck that. That is just so upsetting, isn't it? Alright, let's get on to part 3. I am posting here to let you know that Digger, Doggo's new name, has successfully gone 24 hours without consuming any alcohol and seems to be fine. Not quite as chipper as usual, but certainly not suffering as much as one may expect. As you can see from these photos, he may look a little sorry for himself, but still can give a smile and a yawn when woken up with a belly rub. I really didn't want to edit this too much, but yeah, I'm just gonna post that other photo because these look quite similar to the other one. You guys can check them out yourself. I'll just post that original one in the video, and then if you guys want to go look at it, the thread is going to be in the description box, so go check it out yourself if you want to. I'm not going to take the time to do it because I got to read other stories for my video tomorrow on my main channel, and that's going to take a little bit. It was initially planned for the weaning to go slower. However, a full liver panel test performed shortly after my last update showed that a certain enzyme related to alcohol consumption was impaired to a level of concern. Therefore, my vet and I decided to accelerate his weaning schedule to try and get him alcohol-free ASAP. To do this, his Valium dosage increased to 40 milligrams daily, 10 milligrams every 6 hours, and his apple cider consumption was dropped off rather quickly, decreased around 20% a day. Honestly, hey, maybe I'm going to pretend like my cat has an alcoholic problem. They'll give me Valium and I'll just take it for myself. He certainly did have some hard moments where he was clearly feeling sorry for himself, and if his reactions to massages was anything to go by, he was having muscle aches and pains. He also was clearly agitated by noises that previously didn't agitate him, and he often opted to stay in as dark an environment as possible, i.e. sleeping under the bed during the day, whereas previously he would sleep on it with his head on my legs. His appetite also decreased, the poor guy. However, he was always lucid, had no signs of trembling, no whimpering, and no other bad signs such as vomiting, etc. He clearly didn't feel 100%, but was in no real danger during this detox. To help him through this, he was prescribed meloxicam for the pain, in addition to the dose of his Valium being substantially raised. I've never heard of meloxicam. Let's see here. Used to treat arthritis. Is it a strong painkiller? Why does this happen to any of you guys? You search on Google and then it nothing loads when you press stuff, except the links, but like the people also ask section. I gotta refresh it every time. It is not a strong painkiller or opioid. Okay. Avoid. Very serious interaction can occur with alcohol. So, yeah, I don't know. To help, okay, I said that. After the first few days where his alcohol consumption was slashed quite rapidly, he started to seem more comfortable on a minor dose, 15 milliliters every 8 hours. 15 milliliters every 8 hours. That sounded like 50, but 15. And exactly 24 hours and 2 minutes ago, he had his last drink, just 15 milliliters of 7.9% cider. After missing his first scheduled drink this morning, he wasn't quite his usual boisterous self, but by this evening he seems a bit brighter and happier to be in a room with light, and has had some food. I think that the meds are causing him some sleepiness too. Though to be honest, I am absolutely ecstatic because he has managed to beat his physical dependence on alcohol, and while his liver had the result which was of a concern to my vet, the vet is confident that by having seized the alcohol in this time frame, the liver shouldn't suffer too much, if any, permanent impairment. He should hopefully live out his days to a regular lifespan, which I consider amazing given what he has been through. From today on, he has started living the rest of his life in a loving home with his new family, 2 humans, a fellow dog, and 2 cats, and can say that he is now sober. His future plan is to reduce the meloxicam first, followed by the Valium. However, as these medications are probably what's made the rather abrupt cessation of alcohol bearable, and the Valium will both help with the withdrawal symptoms and potential seizures. My vet wants him to continue with these at his current dose until it's clear he's no longer at risk of DT, and then he can slowly be weaned down. For those interested in some fun information about Digger, I've discovered that his favorite food is cheese and Vegemite scrolls. Think a soft bread roll that has Vegemite and melted cheese infused in it in a spiral. This was discovered by him stealing one of mine when I wasn't looking. While this isn't a food suitable to really feed him, I've been giving him a tiny scrap of bread with the Vegemite and melted cheese on, about the size of a grape, 2 or 3 times a day as a treat, usually if he looks down and needs it. Vegemite is a good source of B vitamins, and thus it's not a bad thing that he seems to have a taste for it, and I guess it just proves he's truly a blue Aussie. So is he Australian or motherfucking, is he from the UK or Europe or something? Because sounding like they're Europeans, these people. As for the owners that did this to him, I know a little more about their proceedings with the legal system, through the chain of a couple relatives, so beware of the telephone or Chinese whispers effect. I've heard that there have been a couple more arrests made in this settlement since my last post, though I don't know on what charges. Along with the animal cruelty, I sent photos to the police of an amateur meth lab and some illegal firearms, and also I'm pleased to report that at least 5 of the preteen children that weren't being schooled and showed signs of physical abuse, possibly sexual abuse as well, have been removed by Child Protective Services. This included one whom was related to me. I believe I am his great uncle. This person's typing horribly. Like, this is a great story, but this person is just writing words that don't make sense that are right next to each other. Like, it's just terrible fucking grammar. With some a couple of removed steps in there. Yeah, that doesn't, a couple of removed steps in there. Like, that's not the right way to write anything. While the perpetrators and bystanders to Digger's abuse may never pay for that crime, specifically the effect on the community these charges and police attention will certainly deliver some justice against his primary offenders, whom are both currently held in custody awaiting trial related to firearms and drug charges. Yeah, they keep putting stuff in parentheses. I don't think you need most of the stuff in parentheses, but honestly now though, reading this, I think the dog was doing meth too. I feel like if they had a meth lab, they were probably giving the dog meth, which is even worse than alcohol. As a footnote, I would like to thank you all for both the advice and support you have shown us. The advice is certainly helping, specifically in regards to his separation anxiety. Seems to be lessening. See, that's not written right either. If I stopped every time something wasn't written right, it would be going on forever now. But yeah, I'm just trying to go with the speed I'm trying to read at. You know, I'm just trying to get this read. But yeah, it's hard to just get it normal without fucking messing up because they had it messed up. I can go to the other end of the house to do something, such as make a coffee, and he won't insist on following me or freak out if he finds I'm no longer in the same room as him. Also, the moral support has helped me be determined to do the very best I can for him, by caring and giving him the best life possible. Those who have messaged me, either asking about how I was coping with vet costs and offering financial support, I would like to thank once again for your generous offers, but rest assured, due to the fact my vet is a friend of mine from uni, and thus doesn't charge me for checkups, and only charges me costs for the medication and blood tests, that I've been able to manage the resulting bills no problem. But that said, the fact you care so much about Digger really did touch my heart. I feel privileged and lucky to be able to have helped save this wonderfully sweet dog, and been in the unique position that I can give him plenty of access to veterinary services. Once the vet overcame his fear of prosecution or malpractice due to the statutes regarding giving animals alcohol, even if weaning them under the care of a vet, I will be getting the vet a a thank you present. I will be getting the vet a thank you present for all of his hard work. I foresee there will be no need for any further updates, unless enough of your kind souls would just like me to update you once he's tapered off all of his meds to let you know that he has reached full sobriety. But at this point, it looks like Digger has beaten the addiction and physical dependence thrust upon him, and is set up for living out a very different happily ever after than he could have ever imagined. Thanks again, you wonderful community. Alright, so that's the third update, and we got one more here. So yeah, they did update it. And there's more. Shit. I'm surprised his beer didn't overflow today. Alright, we don't have to read the TLDR again. We already read. We already had some updates. Alright, the update. Good news, folks. Well, let me preface this by saying that Digger has been progressing excellently. The first three to 4 days without alcohol and tapering down his Valium were fairly rough on him, and he was obviously feeling uncomfortable and unhappy. But after 5 days, when I offered him a leash, he excitedly jumped up to go onto the walk. The first time since he's been alcohol-free. I walked him to the dog park, where he even did some off-leash running, just with myself and my other dog Chester, whom while normally will play fairly rough, has sensed Digger has been hurting, and thus has been gentle. However, he and Chester have been playing in their normal spirited fashion again, and it seems that Digger is completely over any withdrawal symptoms. I simply cannot believe this dog is not completely chemical free after being given so much artificial stuff. First by his owners abusing him, then secondly by me trying to help him. He's coped remarkably well with his treatment, and to think that a number of vets suggested he be put to sleep. Yeah, fuck those vets. I mean, this guy's lucky that he had a friend that was a vet, because that was just, yeah, no. If this happened and I had to deal with this, I would definitely, I learned, because when I got off my Zoloft, I didn't get that, they didn't tell me, the psychiatrist, because I stopped talking to them because they ended on a bad note because they were pieces of shit. So I weaned off myself, but I pretty much learned that from my channel, just reading stories how weaning off is a good idea. And it took me about a month to wean off totally off of the Zoloft, and I was fine after that. Well, I was depressed because I was getting off of antidepressants, but other than that, there was no withdrawal symptoms or anything, so... But I was only on it for half a year, so that's a big difference than being on it for years, Just to show what I mean about Digger being a happy boy, here's an album of 4 photos of him I took just now. Like I said, you guys can look on it. There's an image link for it. The last photo is a bit soppy, but he's so sweet, always wanting to lick my face. Funnily enough, after my girl and I have been kissing, he often comes up and starts wanting to lick my face as though he thinks that is just how we say hello around here. Sometimes, no matter how much I try and protest, he won't settle till he at least gets the tip of his tongue to touch my cheek. Oh, isn't that so cute? See, I wouldn't want a dog because I don't like it when dogs lick my face. I know where their tongues have been. They've been in very dirty places, and I'm just getting that stuff on my face. No, I can't. It's just too much for me. I just don't like things jumping on me. I like dogs, but I wouldn't want to own one. And just jumping people too. People are just all on your face all the time. I cannot stand that. As for medical stuff, one of the hardest tightropes for my vet and I was walking. What? As for medical stuff, one of the hardest tightropes for my vet and I were walking was his Valium dosage. Yeah, that guy, I mean, tightropes and walking. I mean, he had the right idea, but wrote that completely wrong. I just God. It clearly has alleviated the muscular aches and pains associated with alcohol withdrawal, but at the same time, we didn't want to become physically dependent on it, so wanted him off of it, or on a low dosage, so he wouldn't suffer withdrawal when he had to cease the medication. Fortunately, he was able to taper down quite rapidly, with the discomfort from his withdrawal from the alcohol seemingly being roughly in line with his decrease in dose of Valium, except for the last couple of days where he's been feeling even better, and as mentioned, has been excited to have physical activity, including going for walks, a run at the off-leash dog park, playing tug-of-war with Chester, my other dog, yes, we know. It seems that I have feared the most, jumping off the Valium completely, turned out to be a non-issue. I guess because dogs require such large doses, maybe he wasn't feeling anything from what was left. In the days the days he seemed a bit lethargic from the Valium reduction was the time he actually jumped off it. Either way, I'm so happy for him. But one of the things I'm most thrilled to tell you is, Digger has discovered the joys of playing with toys. As I mentioned before, he has seemingly never had a proper toy. i.e. a plush toy or something with a squeaker in it, but he's starting to learn what they are and he loves them. He's got a rubber pig that oinks when squeezed, plus a miniature plush horse. The horse, though, is slowly having its stuffing spread over the house as it seems to enjoy pulling it apart. His social anxiety is also getting better. He's able to be left alone for 5 minutes without getting worried in a room or other boring situations, and for about 15 minutes in a situation that is somewhat exciting, i.e. outside he can see from our backyard through our front yard into the street, observing people and other dogs coming and going. He's really becoming part of our family, and while he's still very attached to me, he's also becoming more endeared to my partner and also my stepdad. He's content to be minded by them if I have been out all day or something like that. So does this guy have a job or something, or does he not? Like is that his job, taking care of dogs? Because it sounds like a great job. Because he's not talking about that. Because that would be one of the main reasons why I can't take care of these special needs cats, or just, if it's an older cat. I really wanted to adopt an older cat, but since I'm not home, I'm working all the time, like, it would be hard for me to take care of them. But yeah, I would love to take care of a dying cat just to give its last couple years some happiness, but I don't know what problems it's going to have, and I won't be home enough all day. And Ozzy, I don't know if he's going to be able to take care of him. He's just going to have to be there. But yeah, so that's one thing. So this guy probably doesn't have a job, and if he does, it's something else, or his wife or something that makes the money. A lot of you have been asking about the legal situation with his former owners and their charges. After consulting with the mods, I'm not allowed to post a link to the newspaper article or give enough information they could be identified, although I've given enough that anyone with reasonable Google and Australian geography knowledge could put it together. That said, as I mentioned previously, the man and woman whom owned Digger previously, and the people who owned Digger previously, yeah, this is what I'm talking about. The ones who gave him alcohol and were going to shoot him. Okay, this guy's story is amazing. I'm glad for what he did, but this guy is, he's putting in parentheses, what we already know. People who owned him previously, people who gave him alcohol were going to shoot him. Who else would it have been? I don't know why that needed to be in parentheses. Are being held in custody on firearms and drug charges awaiting their trial. However, in addition, I've read that they are both facing 2 counts of sexual assault of a minor. Oh God, well yeah, these are just god-awful people. As the minor wasn't identified, I don't know for sure, but I think I mentioned in a previous post I'd suspected something was off, and it wouldn't surprise me if their own son and daughter whom are the victims. However, I know through the grapevine that now at least 10 children have been removed from the settlement by the Department of Child Services, including a couple of my relatives, and they have been placed with foster parents. The police and child services are taking a very hard look at the community as a whole, and I wouldn't be surprised if there are more charges, and the community collapse is due to the fact that almost all residents are facing some legal or social interventions by government agencies. While normally I would be sad about a tribe ceasing to exist, and in a way I still am, I am not sorry for the people involved. They were horrible human beings whom tolerated such depraved activity and used their remoteness to keep it hidden from authorities. Maybe once the tribe was noble, but I know that I know what they have become is not something that they can be overlooked by society. And what has happened is for the good of the children and Digger, and the adults largely brought this on themselves. They had enough good land that they could have made a reasonable living farming, but instead decided to sexually abuse children and to perform egregious animal cruelty. On a more positive note, I just want to say a giant thank you to the r/dogs community for your support during this. At first, I was very unsure of myself and how this would go, but I am staggered and humbled at the amount of great practical advice I got, plus the enormous amount of encouragement to keep trying my best even when I wasn't sure. I really wish that I had some way to let Digger know how many people around the world have been following his recovering and thinking of him. Some to the point of tearing up, but the best I could do is just give him unlimited belly rubs. I also should thank my vet for going well and truly above the call of duty, for checking his physical examination every 3 to 4 days and having done 4 liver and kidney panels on him, along with the medication. I tallied it up and have only spent 750 Australian dollars in total. I believe him when he says he is charging me exactly what it costs to get the pathology test done and the medication, and I also think he is courageous for assisting me despite the animal cruelty laws specifically stating that it is legal to give dog alcohol without exception, and thus putting his license potentially on the line by giving me the advice on how to wean him down. I am definitely blessed by having Digger join my family, and now really can't imagine life without him. He slotted in just so perfectly with all of us. I'm also really glad that I have a happy ending for his saga to tell you. I will be sure to give an update in 6 months or so to let you know if he's still going on the straight and narrow, etc. But I think for now, Digger has successfully beaten his alcohol dependence, as his last liver screen came back showing it's improved a little already. Go Digger. For those wanting to see other photos, here are photos I've taken of him throughout his journey to recovery. Like I said, yeah, you guys can go read that. But yeah, that was the story of the alcoholic dog Digger through his recovery through alcoholism. A very interesting story. I wish it was written better. That's the shit that people write in my my subreddits, but I mean, it was formatted correctly, beautifully, but everything else was just completely wrong. And they spelled things mostly right, except when they misspelled. that makes sense, you know. Of course, that's what you would do. But yeah, no, let me know if you guys enjoyed this story. I'm sorry if I stumbled around there. I really don't want to, but it just happens when it's messed up like that. I try my best to do it on the spot, and I'm not going to fucking stop it every time and redo it, because that's going to take forever to read, and I don't feel like doing that. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed it, give it a like, subscribe if you're new if you want to. I don't care. You know, I just hope you enjoyed it or got something fun out of this. It'll be on Spotify soon. You know, probably about the same time this is uploaded, and this will be a good day to listen to this. I think it was a very interesting story, and let me know what you guys want me to do next. I'll probably do another Trip Reports to Fall Asleep to one, maybe the obscure ones. And then after that, I'll do another interesting video. But for right now, yeah, let's just enjoy this on here. Pretty over 30 minutes long, so pretty decently long video. Not the longest, but also not the shortest. So yeah, I hope you have a wonderful night, and there will be a video tomorrow, hopefully. My grandpa's funeral is tomorrow, but I'll be working on the video tonight, because my collab, I'm waiting for my collab to send me their stories that they're going to read. They're reading 2, I'm reading 3, so yeah, there'll be a collab on the next video, and if they don't get it to me by tonight, I'm going to have to read a different story, so I'm just hoping they let me know if they don't, but hopefully they send it to me, and yeah, because I want to get it out, and it's going to be easy for me to do that instead of, you know, reading a longer story, because I'm only reading 3 and 5 altogether. So yeah, I need to take a break from that fucking most horrifying delirium trip report ever written. That one took me fucking forever to do. So yeah, I need to take a break from being that long. Need to do a couple short videos from here on out, and then go back to a long one later on. But for right now, I'll probably be around 15-minute mark, 15 to 20 minutes at most. Yeah. So enjoy your night, guys, and we'll see you next time.